It is time to introduce the third eminent speaker of the day. So I welcome Professor Rudragouda R. Biradar, working as Professor of Economics in Department of Economics, Karnataka University, Dharwad, Karnataka. Sir, as far as your academic profile goes, you have completed your Masters in Economics from Karnataka University. You have done your MPhil in Economics from Karnataka University, PhD in Economics from Department of Economics, Karnataka University under the title of Rural Non-Agricultural Employment in India, an analysis of its determinants and impact on poverty and inequality. Sir, as far as your area of interest goes, you have interest in the area of rural non-farm sector, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, poverty and inequality, social sector economics of education and health, and public economics. Sir, you are member to various reputed professional bodies such as Indian Institute of Public Administration, New Delhi, Karnataka Economic Association, Executive Committee member to Indian Health Economics and Policy Association, Indian Society of Labour Economics, Indian Economic Association, the Indian Econometric Society ties. Sir, as far as your teaching and research experience goes, you have completed more than 12 sponsored research projects and have published many reputed research articles, books, and research papers in various international and national journals of very high repute. Now, without taking much time, I request Professor R. Biradar to deliberate on the topic of Union Budget 2023 and service sector. Sir, over to you. Professor Biradar will be joining us via virtual mode. So now I will pass the mic to Professor Biradar. Sir, over to you.
Good afternoon to all of you. Respected Vice Chancellor and Pro Vice Chancellor, and my friend and senior Professor Dinesh Kumar and Dinesh Kumar, and all learned faculties of the Business School of Economics, Chitkara University, and all participants from different parts of the country. It gives me an immense pleasure to be part of this pre-budget expectations. Friends, yesterday and today we had a very wonderful discussion from Sunil Kumarji and Monesh Chobe sir and many other experts on different dimensions of different aspects of union budget expectations, including agriculture, industry, and MSMEs, and many other aspects. Similarly, one of the important the topic that I am asked to talk is the union budget expectations from service sector. So before the expressing my expectations from the service sector, let me give you the situation under which our honorable Finance Minister is going to make presentation the budgetary allocation for the year 23-24. Friends, as you know, during the last 2 years, Indian economy was hard hit due to COVID-19 pandemic. So therefore, we are slowly recovering the GDP growth rate. See, for the year 22-23, the first advanced estimate as per NSO is that India's GDP is going to be around 7%, as against 8.7% in the year 2021-22. So this slow growth rate of the GDP is maybe due to a global economic slowdown and high inflation and rising interest rates. And another important tough situation is that high fiscal deficit. It's around say 6.4% of GDP for the year 22-23, which is much higher than the actually the 3% of the GDP, which was target fixed by FRBM Act. So with high fiscal deficit and high inflation rate is also is closer to 6%, and unemployment rates are also rising from say around 6% to around 8% in December 2022. And there's also at the international level, there's unstable rupee. Rupees against US dollar is quite significantly changing. And we also have a large account of deficit, current account deficit, say around 22% of GDP in July, September 2022, as against 1%, 1.3% in the previous year. And in addition to this, there is also a spread of COVID-19 pandemic in some of the states like Delhi and Kerala and Maharashtra. We heard that the COVID-19 pandemic is again spreading, and in China, in other countries also, again COVID-19 pandemic is reoccurring. So against this very tough time, tough situation, grimy picture, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitaram is going to announce various incentives, programs, policies for the taking the Indian economy on track. So my jawab is to what are the important expectations that we can have from the service sector. Already agriculture, industry, and other side have been covered by many experts during these 2 days national level colloquium. So friends, as you know, the service sector is also known as tertiary sector and is the third tier in the 3 sector economy like India. And the service sector consists of some soft part of the economy. In fact, it is an important sector, which certainly creates lots of externalities. Externalities which certainly incentivize or inspire or motivate or act as a driver for development of other sectors of the economy, like industry and agriculture. Because service sector is a sector which really connects with all other sectors of the economy. So therefore, if the service sector is growing and it is robust and it is vibrant, then other sectors can also be grow easily, because it is the sector which generates lots of external positive externalities, so that these externalities will act as incentives for development of agriculture, industry, and many other such sectors. So the service sector consists of several subsectors, like service sectors includes the trade, hotels, restaurant. It's also known as hospitality industry, tourism, and it also includes transport, storage, and communication, wherein the railways, transport, and storage and communications are important. And third segment is financing, insurance, real estate, and business services. And banking and here banking and insurance are important, and real estate, ownership and dwelling, and business services are important. And at the last, we also have community, social, and then personal services, which includes public administration and other social services like education and health. Education and health are also considered to be part of the service sector. So this is a really vast and very vibrant sector and key driver of the Indian economy. See, in the recent past, service sector has becoming the tertiarization, because it is the biggest sector of the Indian economy. Because in the year 2021, out of the total gross value added of 179.15 lakh crore, service sector accounts for about more than 54%. It is a really highest share in terms of income contribution, followed by industrial sector, which accounts for almost 29%, 26%, and agriculture accounts for hardly say 20%. So therefore, as far as the service sector's contribution to India's GDP is concerned, service sector is the major driver and major contributor. And this sector is not only dominant in the contribution of India's GDP, but it is also attracted significant FDIs. This is the sector where FDI has moved into significantly and contributed significantly to exports, as well as it has provided large-scale employment for skilled and unskilled and semi-skilled persons of this country. So if you look at the employment share by the different sectors, of course, the data are old because we don't have updated data. See, primary sector accounts for more than 57, almost 67% of the total workforce. Secondary sector that basically consists of industry accounts for 18.70%, and tertiary sector, that service sector, which accounts for more than 25%. in year 2004-5, but in 2012 it accounts for 28%. So therefore, if you look at the service sector's contribution in terms of income, it is the first, and in terms of employment, it is the second largest sector of the Indian economy. And it also contributes huge amount of it's huge. It's also one of the important contributor to exports. So friends, this is the size of the service sector, which is growing at a faster rate. And if you look at the development growth rate of the GDP, that is gross value added by major activities, in which you can also see the quarter-wise growth rate of the GDP during different years. So this shaded line, you can just look at during the pandemic period. Service sector was the hard hit sector, especially in the case of trade, hotel, and restaurant. See this negative growth rate of almost closer to 50%. And as economy picked up and most of the activities came back on track, see the service sector as also other sectors picked up. See in the last quarter, I mean in the quarter second of 22-23, you can just see there's a small decline in the growth rate of gross value added in different subsectors of the service sectors. So even then, even in spite of this decline, still if you look at the overall growth rate of the service sector in comparison with other sectors of the economy like agriculture and then industry, the service sector is showing a significant or higher growth rate. So with this, what important the expectations that we need to have is that in the previous budget, already the finance minister has announced several incentives, several programs, several initiatives to promote the service sector and consequently the other industry and then agriculture sector. See, transport and communications, in fact, play a very, very important role in economic development of a country. That is making the people and then goods to move from one place to another place and generate lots of employment opportunities. Friends, as you know, transport, tourism, and telecommunication is the one important sector where a huge amount of direct and indirect employment opportunities are generated for skilled, unskilled, and then semi-skilled people, especially for the youth. This is the one important sector where we can accommodate them for their livelihood and better. So, in order to provide a good network of transport facility in the country, in the finance minister in the previous budget has announced PM Gati Shakti. It's really a very important transformative approach announced in the previous budget to ensure economic growth and sustainable development. So this approach is driven by 7 engines, namely roads, railways, airports, mass transport, waterways, and logistic infrastructure. So these are 7 important Gati Shakti, which will really act as a Shakti to other sectors of the economy. So therefore, this approach has to be. I expect that again. I don't expect any other scheme except this. This Gati Shakti scheme has to be strengthened and allocated more funds for further and faster development. And most of these facilities are concentrated on urban, metropolitan, and semi-urban areas, but rural roads, rural connectivity is still suffering. And even if there are several schemes have been implemented, still in rural areas, many of the rural areas are not well connected with urban cities, especially during the rainy season. So therefore, there should also be a Gati Shakti for development of rural roads like Pura, as as announced by former President of India, APJ Kalam, Pura providing urban amenities in rural areas. So that program should be strengthened so that rural-urban connectivity can be enhanced and supply chain of goods, especially agriculture goods and services can be strengthened here. And as far as storage facility is concerned, friends, as you know, in the agricultural sector, as Monesh Chobe sir rightly said that storage and warehousing facility are very important, important thing, important agri infrastructure. As you know, out of the total agriculture production, around 19 to 20% of the agriculture produce eaten away by waste, got waste and then eaten away by rats and then banquets. So therefore, lot of huge amount of agriculture produce is getting wasted due to lack of storage and warehousing facilities. And in addition to that, our farmers are not able to store their agriculture produce as and when they have low price for their produce. So therefore, they are forced to sell agriculture produce due to lack of storage and warehousing facilities. So therefore, in the forthcoming budget, I expect that a special drive must be announced to establish and upgrade the existing storage and warehousing facilities so that our farmers can store their agriculture produce when the price of agriculture commodities are very low, and when they rise, when they go up, they can sell in the market. So storage and warehousing has to be given topmost priority, because farmer doubling of farmers income by this year should have been done, but due to lack of these some of these agricultural infrastructure facilities, I don't think that the farmers income will be doubled by end of this agriculture year. So therefore, in order to, in the days to come, in order to increase the farmers income, one of the important measure, one of the important approach that can be adopted is that providing adequate and safety storage and warehousing facilities to the farming community. And trade, hotels and restaurants. Yes, this is one of the important area where a good number of youths, especially the skilled, especially semi-skilled and unskilled workers, can be employed. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, this is one sector which has been hard hit. So in order to provide financial assistance, in the previous budget, the finance minister, I mean in the 2020 budget, the finance minister announced one very good scheme, that is emergency credit link guarantee scheme. That's 100% guarantee scheme, in which through which the financial assistance will be given to the COVID pandemic hit activity. So therefore, this trade, hotel and restaurant is also a hospitality industry. This hospitality industry has hard hit during the COVID-19 pandemic, and in the budget 2023, the financial assistance was extended up to March 2023. So with budget allocation of 5 lakh rupees, 5 lakh crore rupees. So therefore, still trade and hotel and restaurant business activities are not picking up significantly, especially in semi-urban and urban areas. So it may be same facility may be extended for one more year with additional amount of instead of 5 lakh crore, it can be 10 lakh, 5.5 lakh crore rupees, so that we can attract more number of tourists and then generate adequate employment opportunities. And as far as banking sector is concerned, friends, banking sector is really an important sector which play a very important role in economic development. Say, without money, without monetary transaction, no activity, no transaction takes place. So it is the banking sector which will drive the lot of financial transaction across different parts of the country. So in the banking sector, there are two important issues which can be considered by the finance minister in the forthcoming budget. One is non-performing asset, and other one is this capital adequacy ratio. So many of the public sector banks are suffering from capital adequacy ratio and non-performing assets. So if many of the commercial banks are suffering from high non-performing asset, then these banking institutions will not be able to provide meet the credit needs of the people, and then financial inclusion may not be enhanced further. So therefore, in the Union Budget 2021, two important initiations, two important announcements have been made. One is National Asset Reconstruction Company Limited, that is NARCL, and another one is India Debt Resolution Company Limited. So these NARCL and then IDRCL were set up by RBI to basically address the issues of non-performing assets of public sector banks and improve the financial inclusion further. So consequently, because of these establishments of these two companies, the banking sector has performed very well, as the capital adequacy ratio have improved, and then even non-performing assets have come down. However, gross non-performing asset under this emergency credit link guarantee scheme was estimated around as much as 4.8%, is closer to 5% as of March 2022. So 5% NPAs really it is high, and this has to be taken into account. And according to RBI, the recent estimate that gross non-performing ratios of public sector banks may rise from 6.5% in September 2022, 9.4% in September 2023. So RBI forecasted that there is a possibility of rise in the non-performing assets due to various reasons. One is high interest rate and slow economic growth and other things. So in respect of private banks, it will go up 3.3%, from 3.3% to 5.8%, and from 2.5% to 4.1% in respect of foreign banks. So therefore, here NCRL and then IDRCL should be made proactive and then given more funds to look into the non-performing assets and then make them to performing assets. So therefore, NCRL and then IDRCL given more funds to address the issues of this capital adequacy ratio as well as high non-performing assets. There are many other issues because of paucity of time and all. I'm not able to touch upon it. But in the banking sector, these are the two important issues which need to be taken care of by the finance minister in the forthcoming budget. And as you know, this other there are some more issues to be considered, like there is a huge amount of losses in rural branches. Most of the rural branches are running at a huge losses of high because of high overdues and then prevalence of even barter system. Even in the rural areas, still the degree of monetization is very less. Many of the goods are still not monetized, and then because of this, rural branches are incurring losses, and then there is a large overdues, and then NPAs are especially small branches of commercial banks are now facing a huge amount of overdues and then not performing asset. And other important issue which need to be taken into care is that there is just less advance. There is the advance, the loan given to for priority sector is quite slow. Priority sector, of course, priority sector has to be given more funds, but if you look at the growth rate of the loan for the priority sector is very less. So therefore, as a result of which the recovery rate may be less, because when the priority sector is not given adequate credit and unpriority sector is given more credit, then the utilization of credit may be less. So therefore, as a result of which loan recovery may be unsatisfactory and then very low. So priority sector lending should be faster and then enhanced in the forthcoming budget. And then there is also a lot of competition from non-banking financial institutions. As far as deposit mobilization is concerned, commercial banks are facing lots of challenges. So their deposit mobilization is found to be very less compared to NBFCs. So therefore, another important problem many of the banking institutions are facing is that the competition with foreign banks. So especially the foreign banks and the small private sector banks have mobilized more funds, more deposits compared to the commercial banks. One of the important reasons is that they are giving better services. So therefore, now the customers, I mean, people are moving from commercial banks to the non-banking financial institutions. So therefore, these are the some important issues to be taken care of in the forthcoming budget as far as the banking sector is concerned. And similarly, insurance is also very important industry, which really provides lots of employment opportunities and contribute to the India's GDP. So a few important announcements have been made in the Union Budget 2022. which can be included as follows. There, making 1.5 lakh post offices as part of core banking system, and central bank digital currency, and digital banking units. Some of these initiatives announced in the previous budget really have far-reaching impact on the general insurance and the life insurance. However, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, the insurance companies are not faring very well as far as premium collection is concerned. So premium, there's a marginal decline in the premium collection, and there is also a decline in insurance penetration, and there is also, you can see there is a low insurance density in the country. Say, according to the latest economic survey of 2022, only 3% of out of the total population, 3% of the population have life insurance. It's a basically government policies, and 1% of the people have non-life insurance. So altogether, the insurance coverage was around 4%. If you look at the other countries like USA, UK, then the coverage of people with insurance is insurance ranges between 90 to 100%. So therefore, if you look at overall public and private insurance coverage in India, it is just hardly 27%. So therefore, in the light of in the anticipation of the COVID-like situation, I think the finance minister should make a mandatory announcement to announcement for coverage of insurance by all the people. Of course, there are schemes, many schemes are there, but many people are unaware of the insurance schemes, and there must be drive to ensure that each and every one of the citizen of this country should become part of the life insurance, so that the financial burden due to this COVID-like situation can be mitigated when they have insurance coverage. So universal insurance coverage must be ensured in the days to come. So for that purpose, finance minister should come up with some package. And as far as health and well-being is concerned, friends, as you know, India has been already committed to ensure sustainable development goals. There are 17 sustainable development goals, among which third goal is very much related to health and then well-being. So according to this commitment, India is supposed to reduce the global maternal mortality rate less than 70 per lakh live births by 2030, and it should reduce neonatal mortality rate to at least 12 per lakh per thousand live births, and CMR, that is child mortality rate under 5 mortality, to at least as low as 25 per thousand live births. And by 2030, we should end the epidemics like AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, and then neglected tropical diseases, and combat hepatitis and waterborne diseases and other communicable diseases. And other important commitment is to ensure universal access to sexual and reproductive health care services, including the family planning, and achieve universal health coverage by ensuring access to safe, effective, quality, and then affordable essential medicines and vaccination for all. So these are the some important commitments have been already made by India under this Sustainable Development Goals of 3 to ensure good health and then well-being. So with this commitment, let me take the stock of what health infrastructures we have in our country. So before that, let me present you what are the norms for rural health care system according to Indian Public Health Standards. Indian Public Health Standards has set up certain norms as far as hospitals, doctors, nurses, and other infrastructure facilities are concerned. So according to IPHS norms, see, for in respect of subcenter, for every 5,000 population, there must be one subcenter in plain area, and hilly and tribal and difficult area, it should be around one subcenter for 3,000 population. And in case of primary health center, for every 30,000 population, there must be PSC in plain area, and then one PSC for every 20,000 population in hill and tribal area. There must be one PSC. And in case of CSC, say for every 1,20,000 population, there must be one CSC in plain area, and for the 80,000 population, there must be one CSC in hill and the tribal areas. So these are the important norms set by IPHS to ensure minimum level of healthcare services in the country. And as far as WHO norms are concerned, so as far as WHO norms are concerned, for 1,000 population, there must be one doctor or physician, and 3 hospital beds, and 3 nurses or midwives. So these are the norms to be maintained in order to ensure adequate healthcare facilities in the country. So let me present you. Actually, the COVID-19 pandemic made us to understand or learn many of the lessons. So one important lesson that we have learned is that to develop adequate and resilient healthcare facilities in the country. So this COVID-19 pandemic made us to understand what are the stocks and what are the healthcare facilities that we have in our country. So with these norms according to WHO and then IPHS, let me present you the number of doctors that we have in our country in comparison with other countries as well. So friends, look at this figure. It shows the distribution of doctors per 1,000 population by major countries. So as per the WHO norms, for every 1,000 population, there must be one doctor. See in India, say we are not even meeting this WHO norms. We are just see 50% of little more than 50% of the WHO norms have been fulfilled. So there's a huge inadequacy in the availability of doctors in the country. So look at other countries. In case of other countries, UK, USA, Japan, China, and then Sri Lanka, even in Pakistan, our neighboring countries. So the availability of doctors is better compared to India. So there is a lot of scope for producing. Having more number of doctors in the country in the days to come. So in order to get the doctors now itself, in order to get adequate number of doctors, there's required number of doctors for the days to come. We need to announce lots of incentives for the doctor courses well in advance. So you can also look at hospital beds. So as far as hospital beds are concerned, see WHO norms says according to WHO norms, there must be for 1,000 population there must be 3 hospital beds. But India has 1.4 beds. It is 50%, little less than 50% of WHO norms. So world average is three beds. It's okay. But if we compare other countries like Japan, China, UK, USA, and Sri Lanka, there the availability of hospital beds per 1,000 population is better compared to India. And coming to ICU beds, for ICU beds, there is no norms set by WHO or IPHS. But look at the availability of intensive care units beds by major countries. So India has very less ICU beds per lakh population. So it is around 2.3, whereas other countries like USA, Japan, France, UK, and China, they have better and more number of ICU beds compared to India. And you can also see the ventilators, which are very important in the times of the COVID-like situation. ICU beds and the ventilators are very important. Which can save the lives of many people. India has 6.9 ventilators per lakh population, whereas in case of Russia, Brazil, USA, and Mexico, UK, Italy, they have good number of and then more number of the ventilators per lakh population. And if you look at the health expenditure, both public and then private, in major countries, say at world level, the public expenditure as a percentage to GDP is around closer to 10%. See, look at India's situation. So India spends only 3.5% of GDP, including public and the private expenditure for healthcare sector, for health industry. In respect of other countries, so USA, Japan, UK, Nepal, China, Sri Lanka, so look at the health expenditure as a percent of GDP is quite significant. So that's why the infrastructure facilities. I mean, yeah, you can look at the per capita health expenditure. So per capita health expenditure is concerned, India spends around 73 USA dollar, and world level is 1,110. And in respect of other countries, see their spending is quite significant. So that is why the countries like USA, UK, Japan, and other so-called developed countries, they spend huge amount of their GDP for development of healthcare health industry in their country. So therefore, they have adequate and then good number of healthcare infrastructure facilities. Whereas India spends very less due to no lack of funds and capital. So that's why the availability of healthcare infrastructure is very less. And then more than that, as compared to other countries, India has huge number of population. So providing healthcare facilities to huge number of say more than 136 billion people, it's very difficult to provide the healthcare facilities. And you can also look at the shortage of physical and manpower at the different healthcare centers in India. Say we have sub-center and primary health center and then community health center. So look at the shortage of health centers in sub-center, PSC, and then CSCs. See, as per the norms, as per the IPHS norms, for every 5,000 population, there must be one sub-center, right? So if you look at this, there's a shortage of. If you look at that norms, there is a shortage of 20% in respect of sub-centers, and we have shortage of around 29% shortage of PSCs in the country, and 38% of 38 shortage of 38% shortage of CSCs in the country. So friends, look at there is a huge amount of huge number of shortage of sub-centers, primary healthcare centers, and then community healthcare centers. So therefore, when we have inadequacy in the healthcare delivery centers in the rural areas, then obviously people suffer from illness, and then they are not able to cure their disease immediately. So therefore, they have to come to the urban areas, and then in the urban areas, as you know, quality of service, and then they generally go to private healthcare sector, private hospitals. There they can charge huge, and then they can exploit like anything. So therefore, according to one study, out of the total factors contributing to poverty, say 1/3 of the factors relating to health expenditure are held for high poverty. So why people fall into poverty is because one of the important reason is high health expenditure, which account for 30 to 33%. So if you look at the shortage of physical infrastructure industry and then manpower industry, physical infrastructure industries like hospital, like some water facility, electric facility, computer lab, and medicals. So if you look at the shortage of physical industry, physical infrastructure, it's there's an acute shortage in all the centers. Sub centers say closer to 50, little less than 50%, we have a shortage of physical infrastructure. And in the primary health care, around 30%, and in CSC it is 22%. So shortage of manpower is also huge. Manpower like doctors, nurses. So we have huge amount of shortage. So friends, look at, if you can see this, the availability of healthcare facilities both in urban and rural area. It is clear that India has inadequacy in the healthcare facilities. So therefore, there is a lot of scope for finance minister to announce various schemes and then various initiations so that the healthcare facilities can be strengthened and then upgraded. So one important expectations that I express here is that budgetary allocation should be increased to 5% of GDP from the current level of 1.8%. So because health and education are the very important aspects of the economy, they are the major generator of externalities. So therefore, they should be given topmost priority in the forthcoming budget. And the sub-centers, primary health centers and community health centers should be strengthened by filling up the gaps that I have shown you in terms of establishing these centers at different levels, and also filling the manpower, recruiting the manpower, so that the rural people will be able to access adequate and then timely healthcare facilities. And CMR and MMR has to be reduced significantly, and there must be some incentives, some more schemes, some more funds should be allocated to address the issues of child mortality rate and infant mortality rate, and also child malnutrition and anemia among the women. So some of these expectations that I would like to share with you. And there are also other in education and skill development, as you know, in the previous budget, one class one TV channel has been announced to basically provide education, learning opportunities for the rural areas and SC and ST and other weaker sections of the society. So the same scheme can be enhanced and effectively be implemented across different parts of the country. But as far as the NEP is concerned, friends, as you know, most of the degree colleges and universities in India are suffering from lack of physical infrastructure. Many college universities do not have no smart board and LCD and all visual arts teaching aids, and even manpower also, teaching and non-teaching. So therefore, while implementing this NEP, new education policy, national education policy, a greater emphasis should be given for provision of infrastructure facilities and also manpower, teaching and non-teaching. So without adequate and then modern teaching infrastructure facilities, physical infrastructure facilities, and also teaching facilities, teaching staff, quality staff, it's very difficult to implement a NEP. So therefore, NEP has to be implemented, but in order to ensure effective implementation of NEP, greater budgetary allocation must be made in the forthcoming budget. And the skill development is another important area where we expect a lot of things. Already several schemes in incentives have been announced as far as skill development is concerned. So this national skill qualification framework that NSQF announced in the previous budget should be strengthened, and then it should be linked with dynamic industrial needs. This institute should look into the market demands, market needs, and the industrial needs. Accordingly, reskilling, upskilling should be made. And as far as IT and then ITS, IT-enabled sector is concerned, this is one of the major driver of sectors of the economy in the post-globalization era. So therefore, according to NASCOM, the IT and then BPO industry can become major growth engine for India, as oil is for Saudi Arabia, and then electronics and engineering are for Taiwan. So in Taiwan, electronics are important, electronics and engineers are important, and in Saudi Arabia, oil is very important. Similarly, in India, IT BPO industry play a very, very important role in providing employment opportunities for the skilled laborers. So therefore, IT and IT sectors should be given top priority by providing training to the graduates, outgoing graduates. So as far as this receipts are concerned, total receipts of the central government is concerned. So look at this diagram. There is an increase this time because Indian economy is coming on track. So this time I expect more revenue from the revenue receipts instead of capital receipts. Capital receipts, that's basically borrowing side, may be less compared to the previous budget. And this time I expect more amount of tax revenue, especially from the GST. That's one. And then as far as expenditure is concerned, yes, the capital expenditure has to be increased. So in the last budget, you can see there is a hike in the capital expenditure from 5.54 lakh crore to 7.5 lakh crore rupees. So a significant increase took place in the capital expenditure. So this time also I expect more capital expenditure, maybe around 10 lakh crore rupees from 7.50 lakh crore rupees. So these are the some at the end, I would like to say that the PM Gati Shakti program should be strengthened so that a good network of transport facility across different parts of the country can be ensured, and as a result of which there is a faster and then wider movement of goods and then services across different parts of the country, and as a result of which adequate employment opportunities also be generated. And storage is also another important area for area of great concern for the finance minister. And in respect of banking, NPAs and then NPAs and capital adequacy ratio has to be taken care of. And in respect of insurance sector, universal coverage of insurance must be ensured. Very little percentage, I mean, 27% of the total population is covered under insurance, both private and then public. But this number should increase in the days to come, because in the days to come, we don't know what type of this communicable diseases like COVID-19 pandemic appears. So therefore, in anticipation of that, universal health coverage as well as insurance coverage must be made. For that, I expect some of the incentives or some schemes. And in education, yes, without looking at the availability of infrastructure facilities and even teaching staff and non-teaching staff, and NEP has been implemented across different parts of the country. And Karnataka is one state where NEP has been already implemented. But we are facing lots of problems like non-availability of classrooms and even teaching staff. So therefore, it is becoming very difficult to ensure effective implementation of NEPs. So therefore, in the budget, in the forthcoming budget, the finance minister should allocate more budgets for development of infrastructure and then recruitment of quality teachers, so as to ensure world-class education. And as far as health is concerned, yes, as you know, we have inadequate healthcare facilities and manpower also. So therefore, sub-centers, PSCs, and the community health centers should be strengthened. And there must be some incentives, some schemes to address the issues of malnutrition and IMR, CMR, so as to achieve the sustainable goals by 2030. And in ITVTs, yes, should be given topmost priority by providing training and skills to the graduate students at the exit level. So this forthcoming budget, it's really going to be a, I mean, as you know, this is the last budget of this government, and then there in the next there are elections at the center and then in different states as well. So therefore, that may influence the finance minister to come up with more budget allocation, especially in these sectors. And I hope that this budget is going to be pro growth and pro poor, and also pro weaker section of the society, so as to bring the Indian economy on track. So this, I thank the organizer, especially the Chitkara University and all the faculty members of the department, Dheeresh sir and Dinesh Kumar sir, and other colleagues of the department, for giving me a wonderful opportunity to share some of my expectations from the Union Budget 23-24, especially in the area of service sector. So thank you very much. If you have any doubts, any clarification, I'm really happy to receive. So now over to the organizer.
Thank you, sir, for this enlightening session. Now I would proceed towards the questions, sir. The first question that is coming is, so what is your view on the recent layoff made by the big tech companies like Meta, Amazon, and Twitter? And because of that, the unemployment situation that has been created in the IT profession, and the recent absorption made by the Tata company, do you think that Indian or the domestic IT companies should be given more boost from the government side, so that we can stop this brain drain and this situation of unemployment can be eliminated? So what's your view on this?
Certainly, government should consider this one, and then at least come forward to provide some physical incentives, so that they can they won't be layoff of a huge number of skilled laborers. So certainly, if this is the case, certainly unemployment is going to hit, going to increase, and then there is a possibility of brain drain. So in order to avoid this, such kind of decision should be checked out by the government by providing some physical incentives.
Thank you, sir. Sir, there is one more question. So, in continuation to the same question, sir, as you mentioned that if government would provide some incentive to stop this brain drain and everything, do you think that the vision that Indian government is basically looking for making India as an IT hub? Do you think to stop this brain drain either by incentivizing the IT professional, do you think this will work?
Yes, certainly. Why not? India is going to be IT hub, and Indian government has to promote this kind of industries so that they can produce more number of IT. Engineers who can be employed in IT VT sector.
Do you think the recent the recent budget cut of the education sector, do you think educational sector would become sustainable by this practice if a government would keep on decreasing their budget allocations?
No, governments actually should not cut the budgetary allocation for education sector. Otherwise, education sector will not be sustainable. Actually, in the days to come, NEP has to be implemented by different states. So therefore, government should not cut any budgetary allocation for education. Otherwise, it will be at stake. Crisis.
So the last question, it is related to the health industry, healthcare system. Sir, the question is, as we have seen, sir, there is increasing distrust among the population regarding the CHCs and PHCs at the rural level, which is basically basically a very important part of this whole healthcare system of India. But increasing distrust from the people's side, do you think it is the only reason because of which nowadays we see that most of the urban cities hospitals are basically being overcrowded? Do you think
Overcrowded.
government has to revamp this whole program of healthcare system?
Yes, when healthcare facilities are not adequately available in the rural areas, obviously the rural people will be rushed to the urban hospitals. So overcrowded of urban hospitals is mainly because of non-availability of healthcare facilities and also quality. Also quality wherever the healthcare facilities are there, but the quality is also not satisfactory. So due to lack of quality and then non-availability of healthcare facilities, yes, the rural people are rushing to urban areas.
Good afternoon to one and all present physically as well as present online. I, Dr. Rashmi Agarwal, on behalf of Chitkara Business School, Chitkara University, express my hearty gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their graceful words with us today on the second day of National Colloquium on Approach to Union Budget 2023, that is pre-budget expectations. My special thanks to Professor D.K. Noriel, who truly made this day full of knowledge for us by giving us insights on how to reprioritize the expenditure of Government of India to ensure that use of borrowing for revenue expenditure is minimized and eliminated. He also highlighted the data on past and future innovation waves from the 19th through the 21st century. He mentioned that funding indigenous innovations is key to India's technological and socio-economic leadership, and the NRF will be crucial in supporting this in the nation's academic and research laboratories. The Indian tech sector has been readily serving the good change while also bracing for the new ones. Sir, your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge will definitely help our students and faculty. Professor Manesh Chaube highlighted that the major part of the value added in agriculture is not in crop cultivation, but in post-harvest storage, transportation, processing, packaging, and marketing. The main purpose of an FPO is to maximize farmers' income, and to do so, they provide services and activities which help cater to such needs. Budget 2023 must affect a quantum shift in the use of technology and entrepreneurship in agriculture. There are already enough agri startups in the market. Budget 2023 must put focus on incentivizing the startups for extending many of their pioneering services to benefit the farmers. With the ongoing advancement in technology, there is much that can be utilized to improve India's agriculture and allied sectors. We would like to thank you, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and enlightening us with the knowledge. Last but not the least, Professor R. Biradar expressed his views by mentioning that the service sector is not only the dominant sector in India's GDP, but has also attracted significant FDI flows, contributing significantly to exports as well as providing large-scale employment. The scheme he mentioned, that is PM Gati Shakti, needs to be strengthened. The National Skill Qualification Framework announced in the previous budget should also be strengthened and linked with the dynamic industry needs. The service sector, especially hospitality and the financial services, which are expected to post a strong rebound. We have no other words to offer the gratitude for your valuable presence in this colloquium, sir. We have been fortunate enough today to have a renowned identity from the core academics for sharing their views today. It was really informative national colloquium in the true sense, and I'm pretty sure that the precious knowledge you all gave us will definitely help the students in studies to understand the Union Budget 2023. A big thanks to Dr. Sandhi Sharma, Pro Vice Chancellor Chitkara Business School, for his constant support and the guidance to the team to host and shape this national colloquium. I would also like to thank Dr. Dhiresh Kulshrestha, Dean Economics, for taking the initiative of hosting this national colloquium and also making it as a yearly event. I express my gratitude to Dr. Ashutosh Mishra, Dean Mass Communication, and his team for making this event great, especially in the online mode. A big thanks to Dr. Abhishek, Dr. Narendra, and Dr. Shweta, who really worked hard for this colloquium to make it a grand success. Also, thank you to all my dear students and the faculty for attending and paying attention. Thank you once again, all those who are attending offline as well as online. Thank you very much.